Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you are, whenever you're watching this. This is Floating in Dreams, and today's video is going to be my top 10 favorite eyeshadow palettes at the drugstore. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. I am going to be chatting about my top 10 favorite drugstore eyeshadow palettes because I felt that in this eyeshadow palette month, we also have to give the drugstore some love. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but like when I did top 10 favorite drugstore foundations last month, I felt I hadn't really tried any new eyeshadow palettes from the drugstore all that much. So I'm not sure how many new things I have for you here, but I definitely have a couple here that I think are going to be some like solid favorites, and some of these have been solid favorites for a while. But now that I'm like similar to the drugstore foundation video, I now feel like maybe I should try some more drugstore eyeshadow palettes. But then I started looking around online, and like every single website that sells drugstore eyeshadow palettes, it's all just Makeup Revolution and all of their sub-brands, which I'm not a huge fan of the Makeup Revolution sort of formula. So let me know in a comment down below what some of your favorite drugstore eyeshadow palettes are so that I can see if I can check them out. I'm thinking of maybe giving Wet n Wild another chance, maybe try some more e.l.f. I'm thinking of doing another full face of e.l.f. at some point this year. I've tried LA Girl and I do like the formula, but it doesn't really hold up when I compare it to other palettes I have in my collection. So I've tried quite a lot of things, but maybe there are things I've been overlooking. So let me know what you love so I can hopefully check those out, and that when I do this video again next year, I do truly have some new picks for you. In case you're new here, hi, my name is Maaike. I live in the Netherlands. I like to come on here to chat about eyeshadow palettes, Essence and Catrice reviews, and getting the use out of my makeup. And because I have fair skin with a cool to neutral undertone, I'm a snow angel. So if you'd like to join the Snow Angel Club, then click subscribe down below, and then we can just get started with the video. So yeah, top 10 favorite drugstore eyeshadow palettes. I've got quite, I think it's a good bunch here, and I did compare it to what I already showed you last year, and I think there isn't that much overlap, so I'm pretty proud here. Let me just show you that I'm still in love with these. I already featured one of these palettes last year. And what am I talking about? It is the Catrice 5-in-a-Box palettes. Last year I showed you soft rosy look, but I have since found that these two are my two solid favorites from this line. One you should still be able to find widely available. One may be more difficult to get. Over here, this one has already been discontinued. So which is the one you can still buy? That would be Warm Spice Look. Now I am someone who does not love warm tones, but this is such a good warm tone palette. Like this, I don't know, magic happens when I play with these. Really good formula, really love them. The other one is Modern Smokey Look. And this is taupey shades with like a good cream shade to blend things out, a darker bluish tone gray, and then this murky blue shade for all over the lid. Really nice, really simple, cheap and cheerful, great formula, and this is my favorite one. I don't have a lot of backups in my makeup collection, but when I found out they were gonna get rid of this, I ended up snatching up an extra one just so I could make sure that I always have this around. Let's chat about the sister brand to Catrice, which is Essence. The Dancing Green is my favorite of these mini palettes from Essence. Now, sadly, here in Europe, they do not stock the entire line. You can get 4 more of these in the US, which I'm sad to say, but we don't have the taupe one. I'm pretty sure that if I could get my hands on the taupe one, that would be my favorites. But I can't buy it. So this is my favorite one of the ones. It's some really stunning cool tone green shades that has a really good mix of like mattes and shimmers, a nice enough formula, and with how affordable this is. I mean, over here, this is $3.99. You get a mirror, and yes, the packaging is a bit cheap, but this is such a nicely small, curated eyeshadow palette, and this is my favorite color story of the ones I can get my hands on. Now, and this one I sort of was a little bit on the fence about because you can no longer buy this palette, but I know that a lot of people love the formula of the Beauty Bay eyeshadow palettes. I've tried 3 of the bigger palettes and 1 of the smaller ones, and I have to say that I understand why people like this. If you are someone who really likes super pigmented shadows, you're gonna love the Beauty Bay eyeshadow palette formula. I'm personally not all about that life. I like something a bit more buildable, but this color story, I mean, the Book of Magic was one that I'm like, oh, why don't you bring it back? It was limited edition for like, I think Halloween or Christmas 2 years ago by now. But it has blue, greens, and purples, and I think this was one I featured last year as well. Of all of the Beauty Bay palettes I've tried, this is my favorite one. I feel the formula in here is one of the better ones. And you do get some neutrals here at the top, but they're all a bit warm toned. The Wilderness palette I've tried, that got a lot of hype last year, and I didn't love the shimmer formula in there. I feel like the shimmer, like the formula of Beauty Bay palettes can be quite inconsistent. So some of them are really good, some of them are not that great, but for the price point, I really think you can't beat it. If you are someone who is a beginner in makeup, and you just want to build up your collection with making sure you have a lot of different shades, then definitely check out Beauty Bay, because they do a lot of like all matte, all shimmer, different color stories. So you can really like build a really good beginner collection quite quickly because they are so affordable. Plus they do regular sales as well. Then we have quite a new palette. So I'm pretty sure that this was not listed yet last year because it wasn't out yet. It's another Catrice palette. This is their Pro Slim line, and the Pro Slim palettes have been a little hit or miss for me. I think last year when I did eyeshadow palette month, I actually did a video where I talk about all the other palettes because this one was released in March. So if you want to know what the quality is like of the other 6, save for this one, and then I can link you to that video down below. I do have a video, blog post review for this one up as well, so you can look at swatches if you'd want to. And that goes for any of the eyeshadow palettes actually that I'm talking about. If you go to my blog, you find the eyeshadow palette. If I've reviewed it, you're gonna find swatches and looks and everything. You don't have to sit through a 15, 20, 25, 30-minute video for sure. So this is what the color story looks like of the Pro Slim Hint of Mint. And I really like it. It's also one of the good eyeshadow palettes from Catrice. It's got really good formula. It's finally a little bit deeper, but not too dark that it doesn't really show up anymore. So you do get a little bit of green, so that's why the name Hint of Mint is perfect, because you get a mint green. You get, is it this one? Yeah. This shimmer has a green flip to it. It's a bit of a duochrome, and then you get a deeper green. So you can do, theoretically, you can do a full-on green look with it. But it's more like a neutral palette with a pop of green, which is one of my favorite things for the summertime. So yeah, this palette I thought was really, really stunning. So Catrice did a very good job here. I'm not sure if it's out everywhere yet, but if you can get your hands on it and you want to try the Pro Slim formula, then definitely go for it because this is a nice one. And then we have e.l.f., the Earth and Ocean. I'm not sure if I already put this in a drugstore favorites eyeshadow palette video before. If I have, then just know that this is still a favorite. I almost contemplated decluttering it because I have like compared this to other blue-green palettes that I already have in my collection. But this one, it still hits a sweet spot for me, and mainly because of that teal shade here. Like there aren't that many blue-green palettes that then have this lovely teal moment. Again, it has a couple of neutrals, so you can do a full-on neutral look with it. But you get some green, you get some blue, you get something really light and vibrant in here. And for how expensive this was, this is some really, really good quality. It's not just good at the drugstore, it's like good eyeshadow, period. And I'm not really sure what's going on with BH Cosmetics, but I hope they come back. The brand is still stocked at Beauty Bay, I have to say, and this palette is still available on there. So that's why I did check that out before I featured this, because I was like, do they still sell BH Cosmetics anywhere? I mean, the brand, of course, filed for bankruptcy, and they should have been taken over, but when they're gonna restart their brand, nobody really knows. But this is still in stock, and I think that besides the Love in London, which was discontinued years ago, that is still my favorite BH palette. I think this is my favorite of the ones you can still buy, so that I've tried as well. It's got purples and like cooler tones here. The only row I don't love is these berries at the bottom. That I don't love, but you get some really good shades, and I felt this was more successful for me than the blueberry muffin that got a lot of hype. But this has a really good transition shade for me, which I love. It's got some darker smoky tones, but you can also like do a full-on like royal purple look if you want to. So yeah, it's got a lot of good variety in here. So the Passion in Paris from BH Cosmetics is one that I think is a really good addition to the BH line, and BH Cosmetics do some really, really good eyeshadow. I have a couple of their palettes, and yeah, they just do some lovely things when it comes to eyeshadow, and I wish they would come back because I think we need a little bit more within the affordable drugstore makeup category like eyeshadow palette. Because like I said, everything is like Makeup Revolution. And I'm kind of over Makeup Revolution eyeshadow quality. So I hope they come back. A brand that is sort of like borderline drugstore for me is Glam Shop. Glam Shop is a Polish indie brand. So they're in the EU. Their Coco Sanka palette is one of my favorite cool tone color stories. And these retail for around like the 20 euro mark, which if you look up BH Cosmetics on Beauty Bay, it's about as expensive. So I'm feeling like drugstore is starting to like inch up in terms of price point as well. So that's why I thought I'd feature it here. It's definitely more affordable than like an Anastasia, an Urban Decay, or those kind of palettes, right? So this, oh wow, that's all I can say. This has stellar quality. You get 4 mattes, 5 shimmers, insanely pigmented. We even get a little bit of a duochrome moment in here. And this is my pick if you're in the European Union and you don't want to spend the money on this guy. So let me segue into this. But this is a lovely palette. The Coco Sanka from Glam Shop is amazing, and I'm really glad I tried them. They do a really pretty new palette called the Very Peri, which is like periwinkles and purples. It's another 9-pan. So those look lovely, and also their Cashmere palette looks like a really good cool tone palette, but it's a little bit bigger. So I'm still sort of checking out Glam Shop every single time just to see if they have any sales on or doing anything interesting. And then when I can build myself a nice basket, I think I'm going to be placing myself an order later in the year because they do some really good things. And then we have the That's Taupe from ColourPop. Now I mentioned that if you're in the EU and ColourPop is difficult to buy, I would recommend going for Glam Shop. But this guy from ColourPop is one of the only ColourPop palettes that is still intact. I didn't change this around. All of my other ColourPop palettes are pretty much destroyed because I created new color stories for myself. But yeah, this one I still love and adore till this day. I think last year I featured Going Coconuts. That's like the other ColourPop palette I love and adore. So yeah, if you're in the US or if you do want a really good cool tone color story that is taupe rather than gray, then definitely check this out because it is really, really lovely. So really good mattes, good shimmers, but I feel that the shimmer to matte ratio in the Coco Sanka is just a little bit better for me, but this is still a really good one. And this is the good ColourPop formula. Like I've now found that ColourPop, again, is quite inconsistent when it comes to what they do, like those bigger pans that they do now. I've tried 2 of those and I didn't love the formula. So I still have kept around the shades that I liked from the 2 palettes I tried. And I'm still on the fence because I like that Star Wars and that Mandalorian palette as well. But yeah, I haven't really seen ColourPop do anything new and exciting for a while. So I haven't bought from them for months now. I think my last ColourPop order was Black Friday. And the way things are going right now, I think it's going to be like Black Friday or a Christmas sale until I buy from them again. So yeah, the That's Taupe is my pick from ColourPop. If you're in the EU, wait for a sale. Make sure you get enough for free shipping, but not too much. So you also have to pay like import tax. And then you can still like get things at a reasonable price point if you add all the shipping and handling fees. And then we get to Juvia's Place. Last but not least, the Taupes palette from Juvia's Place. I mean, I love that we're getting more like taupey browns at the drugstore. This is great if you have fair skin though. It's very light, so if you have anything deeper than my complexion, I don't think you're gonna love it. But Juvia's Place's mini palettes in this sort of like smaller style packaging, I think are some of the most fun things they have done as a brand. I've only again recently seen Juvia's Place do something that I think is worth it. That new Gardens of Juvia palette looks really pretty. So that I'm sort of contemplating buying. But yeah, Juvia's Place is another one of those brands that a couple of years ago, everything they released really sparked my interest, and now I'm like, been there, done that, got the t-shirt. So I'm not sure. Maybe there just isn't that much hype surrounding drugstore makeup anymore. I mean, I remember like 10 years ago, it's like everybody was trying drugstore stuff. And I feel like we need to give some love to the drugstore again. So that's why I wanted to come on here and do this video and show you my top picks from the drugstore. As I mentioned, let me know in a comment down below what your favorites are, especially if you have some good cool tone color stories. Now there are a lot of things that I can buy. I'd love to try those stacks from Maybelline. I want to try them, but I can't get them. Maybe again someone has a website that sells them that I can buy it from that I'm not aware of. But that's been the case for me a lot with a lot of L'Oreal and Maybelline releases the past 2 or 3 years. They just haven't been released here. So then how am I going to purchase them? So yeah, I hope to be able to find a couple of cute things when I'm in the UK. Hopefully Superdrug still has a really good offering of makeup. Who knows? So I'm definitely going to be trying some more drugstore stuff out, but I would love to know from you what you love so I can check it out and see if I can find it online. So yeah, thank you so very much for being here today. Thumbs up the video if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more by me. I make several videos a week, and currently every single video going live is eyeshadow palette related. So I hope you'd like to stay tuned for more and strap in for the ride. I hope to see you in my next video. Bye-bye!